everybody. Welcome to my special holiday edition of Tea Time. It is December 21st, and I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and then get into it with my guest because it's going to be a good show, people. Okay, Friday, what I do, not too much, but it was like a movie weekend. I watch movies all weekend. On Friday night, I watched Little Foxes with Betty Davis, and just sat there and enjoyed it. Teresa Wright is in it. She was in the movie Pride of the Yankees, and it was just a wonderful movie. I never saw it, and I had a really good time. You watch it, people, if you get a chance. Saturday, what did I do Saturday? Not much, but Saturday night, I watched Ron Howard's new movie on Netflix called Hillbilly. I'm going to screw up the name. I want to say Elegy. It's Elegy. Okay, Hillbilly Elegy. Watch it. It's based on a true story, and the acting is phenomenal. Glenn Close was amazing. People already talking Oscar nominations. Great. Sunday, didn't do too much. Just did the rest of my laundry, but I did Zoom with the family from Staten Italy. Staten Island was in the house, and I was Zooming with my cousins. So I want to give a shout out to the Capellos and the La Ciceros. And it was really nice seeing them and their kids. And the kids are getting so big, which means I'm getting really old. And had a great time. Some shout outs to hello, Grace Guadati Matranga's watching, and everybody else. I'm gonna get to my guest. She's a producer, she's a stand-up comic, she's a writer, she's a holistic nutritionist, and an actor also. She's dabbling in a little acting lately. So please welcome my guest, Kristen Tinsley's in the house.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on my holiday show.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm very excited. It looks very festive behind you, unlike my galaxy plethora of, craziness behind me.
So, as most people know, I'm a character actor, and I wear a lot of wigs, and I look very different. So I have my holiday hair on tonight.
I love it. Me too. And it matches. It matches in color. I wasn't sure about this color because I wanted more of like honey highlights with brown. But this is what I got, and it's a lot of hair. The hair feels nice and beautiful. So I'm like, you know what? Let me take a little bit of a break. Let me tap into some Mariah Carey. All I want for Christmas is you, bitch. So here I am.
Hello, Bruno, and everyone watching. Thank you. Please like the show. Please share it. So listen, we're friends. I know a lot about you, but I have to act like I don't. And we're going to talk about, everything and anything under the sun. That way everybody else gets to know you. You're a Long Island girl. You're originally from Levittown. You went to Division Avenue High School. And then after that, you went to Nassau and you studied film and video production. And you also studied creative writing in English.
Yep.
But that didn't stop there. Then you went on to study creative writing at Hunter College.
Yep.
And documentary editing, journalism for print, camera reporting, and media communications. So what I want to know is what got you into writing?
Well, which form?
Yeah, well, you did a lot of them. Do you have a favorite?
I like to write fiction. I enjoy writing fiction, but if I had to pick, I like to write everything. Like it's all the same to me. But if I had to pick, I definitely like writing like horror fiction. Some soft erotica, some hard erotica. I love that. But yeah. I've always been that way. Always been that way. Since I was a kid, I always put on I would write plays. And I would put them on with my brothers. Like I just knew how to do that. And like in one of my school projects when I was in kindergarten, we had to actually make a book. We had to write a story inside this book. And then we had to put it together with cardboard and like some sort of like fabric. And we had to make the cover and everything. And I guess that just really, I was like, I really like doing this. And I had a typewriter as a teenager. I loved that. I actually would prefer a typewriter.
I know. We took typing in school back in the day.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I just knew how to do it. It was just something that I just knew, and it just was very natural. And then what sparked the journalism bug was we had to do these on-camera, current events. And I was just always so flawless at doing it. And I remember reading my report card and like it wrote like your daughter is going to be the next Diane Sawyer. And I was like, okay, I didn't know who Diane Sawyer was at the time, but I said, well, maybe I have a knack for this. But of course they keep the same people for like 50 years. So, that wasn't my forte.
Do you remember who your favorite teacher was back then?
Oh, well, my favorite kindergarten teacher, I would have to say, was definitely Miss Robinson, because I'll never forget her. She was the most encouraging to me. Like we were moving back and forth between Florida and New York, and she just welcomed me with open arms. She knew that, I was going through a lot as a kid, and she just gave me a lot of love and a lot of support, and she taught me a lot of stuff. And, I just, yeah. That was my favorite.
I remember my kindergarten teacher was Mrs. Shaglow, and again, the sweetest person I remember at such a young age. Teachers have such, they help form your brain and your creativity. And
they do.
I remember her being very creative. She was also the art teacher. Also, yeah. She did both. So I remember just having a lot of fun and being creative in her class, I want to know I don't know what that was behind me. I want to know, after you graduated from Hunter, what did you do? Where did you go?
Well, I was living in Brooklyn at the time, and I wanted to work in publishing. But unfortunately, in order to get a job in publishing, I graduated in 2009, which is probably like the worst year to graduate, because there was no jobs. There was just basically nothing, like recession, whatever it was. And I wanted to, because I always worked through college. I worked 3-4 jobs, whatever I could, do to make money. And so I didn't have time for internships while I was there. But the publishing company was going through like a shift. There wasn't as many like independently published books and stuff like that. So I started out interning at B-Side Entertainment, because they were like one of the only internships that would take you if you were not in college.
Right.
So that's how I got into like acquisitions and development with films. And I went to film festivals, and I would watch like all of these DVDs and have to give them like a quality report. Like, does it look professional? How is the story? How's this? So that's what got me into like, script reading and looking into like what types of films fit on platforms and how all that money gets, put into, backing a film and, how it gets put out there. Because at the time this was before Netflix. This was even before Facebook was really even that popular. Is what people would do is they would submit their films to us.
Right.
And then they would hold like a watch party, very similar to what Facebook has now, where that whole watch party thing came through. But it's what you'd have to do is you'd have to buy the DVD, host a watch party at your house, and then have people write reviews about it so that you could actually have like a screening that was outside of a film festival. So a lot of those good ideas actually came from B-Side Entertainment, which is unfortunately no longer, because the funding that they had from there actually, I think, went on to fund The Walking Dead. So that just kind of like crumpled. But that's how I got like the acquisitions and development bug from that. And then after that, I got the greatest internship ever, which is at New York Women in Film and Television. I loved it. I got to meet so many people. I got to meet lots of great women in film and television. And I had a really great time there. And that was pretty much like the only internship I needed. And after that, I did, a lot of work on film sets, like independent film and a lot of different.
And you interned with the famous
Nora Ephron.
Nora Ephron. And that had to be an incredible experience.
It was short-lived because unfortunately, she didn't live, too much longer than that. It was something that I took the bull by the horns and was just kind of like, hey, I had to go deliver a package to her apartment. And when I saw the name on there, I was, so I just, said, oh, I'll go up there and drop it off. And I asked, I said, listen, is there any way you could give me some tips and some ropes and, about how to, go about this whole thing? And, she said, sure, no problem. So it was a lot of fun. Wow. Yeah. It was fun.
It looks good on a resume, let me tell you.
Yeah, I just wish that she was still here, because it would be.
She passed very young, unfortunately,
Yeah, she did.
What did you do after that?
After that, I did some work with a very major motion picture company, of which I will not say. I got locked into a contract that I wasn't really going to be able to get out of for like the
Right.
next 50 years, but thank God there was a saving grace. And so I did a lot of script reading and a lot of script work,
Right.
for different companies. They would send me scripts and they would be like, well, can you fix the scene, or can you, fix this type of, character or whatever it is, um, to make it different from what the original submission was, or what do you think about this? Or I would just, read scripts for people to see, if it was worth them actually pursuing. Because that's what happens to your screenplays if you don't have, a representative or anybody to, to rep your script. Is what
Right.
happens is it goes into like this, like a check fold or something like that. And readers like me volunteer, whatever, and they read them, and you have to give like there's like 6 pages of notes you have to, that you have to comment on about the screenplays. That's how I really got into knowing screenplays really, really well.
Right.
And seeing like, what types of scripts they pick, and, and I've seen a couple of movies, actually come out of that. And
Right.
I was really happy for that. But, other than that, they do hire writers out there that can take a script that some unknown writer wrote, and they hire people like me to flip them,
Well,
you
that's like
know.
when I was watching Hillbilly Elegy.
Mm.
The film comes from a book based on a true story, and I have to say, kudos to the writers out there like yourself, because I'm the actor, and if the words aren't there,
Yeah.
there's nothing for me to say. So, and I
Right.
think when you see, and you know me, like you, I watch the credits all the time at the end of a
Yeah,
movie,
you have
and
to.
I want to see who did what and who, and when you see screenplay by or whatever. I mean, it's there's so many people involved in it, but without the story, without the words, there is no story, there is no
Right.
characters, there's nothing. And I think that you have so many really good writers out there telling stories, like Moonstruck. I mean, and other stuff that's out there. Obviously, I mean, even Godfather was a book before
Yeah.
it was a movie.
Well,
You know,
that's actually what I did. After I met, when I was interning at New York Women in Film and Television, I actually met a lawyer that came, around over there. He came to one of our events, and, we just started talking. And he said, oh, you're a screenwriter. Would you be interested? Because I wanted to buy the rights to Pet Sematary. Very ambitious, not realizing that, it would probably cost me millions of dollars. And not only would they not give it to me, but that just wasn't going to happen. So that's how the conversation started. Because I wanted to write a different version of the movie Pet Sematary, which I very well still might.
Pet Cemetery, and that came out. What year did that come out? The original one.
1988 or 87, I believe. I was young when it came out.
Right.
Or maybe it was in the early 90s. I'm not sure, but it came out during the writer's strike, the Hollywood writer's strike. They
I
needed a
remember that.
movie.
Yeah.
They needed a movie that didn't have. It was already done. Like, here, it's done, and it was obviously it's adapted from Stephen King. They hired. That's how Mary Lambert got. Because she was somebody that was unknown and at the time, and that's how they were able to do that, because they didn't want to. They couldn't pay the fees. Everybody was on strike, so we couldn't do that.
Right.
But the lawyer had said to me, "Hey, listen, I have this guy who wrote a book about the boxer Iran Barkley." And, I love boxing. And I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, would you like to, adapt that book or these articles into a screenplay? So I was all for it. I was like, all right, great. And then I read through the contract and I saw the word indemnify. That's why you should always read a contract before you sign it. Do not get overzealous because someone's giving you an opportunity. You need to read that shit.
You have to
That word
read.
indemnify means
You have to
that
read the fine
read
print.
the fine print, right, and make sure you understand it, because if you don't understand it, that's how you can get into some trouble. But basically, I turned that down because anything that I wrote, even though it was adapted from someone else's material, if somebody decided to sue, I would be responsible for that. So I was like, okay, no, pass. Then they said, all right, well, how about you take his book that he wrote, The 21st Century Guide to Bachelorhood, which you can get on Amazon right now. It is a book about dating. It's a book about how to be a bachelor, how to successfully date, all this stuff. So I took that book and I created a story for it, because it's a guide. It's not really a storybook. It's like, how do you get through like personal ads? I mean, it's very dated, but I like that. And when I developed the screenplay years ago, but now is the time for it to come now. So now I'm working on this, the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be working on updating it and getting it out there and getting actors and getting a read for it and really pushing it forward, because now there's actually a platform for it.
Right.
Netflix, Apple TV, there's a lot of different producers out there. I mean, I have changed so much since I started writing that screenplay, with comedy and with everything else. I'm just like, you know what? I could completely and totally change the story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's basically what I did after interning. And then, life happens and you become a bus driver. And
All right, we're going to take our first quick break from my sponsor. Don't go away, everybody. We'll be right back with Kristen Tinsley.
Fortunato's Pizza and Restaurant is located at 719 Hawkins Avenue in Ronkonkoma. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They do free deliveries to Ronkonkoma, Lake Ronkonkoma, Lake Grove, Center Reach, Nesconsin, Holbrook, and Selden. And they do catering for all occasions. Remember, mention Tea Time and get 10% off your entire order. So, Fortunato's Pizza. Move your pizza to Fortunato's Pizza.
So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my God.
Hold on tight. We're going to Coasters.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 Newbridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
Well, hi there, Teresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Teresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time Holiday Edition. I just want to thank my sponsor, Fortunato's Pizzeria and Restaurant. They're in Ronkonkoma. They deliver to a bunch of towns nearby. If you mention Tea Time, you get 10% off your order. And their slogan is, Move your pizza to Fortunato's Pizza. So give them a call. They deliver free delivery and they do catering. The food is delicious. My favorite is the chicken zing. If you like a little zing in your chicken, it's delish. I want to thank John York from General Hospital for your kind words. I'm hoping to get him on my show in 2021. We'll see what happens. And I want to take this time and opportunity to thank everyone who voted for Tea Time. Someone nominated Tea Time Best of Long Island, Beth Page. And I just want to thank everyone for voting for Tea Time. I'm not too sure when or they announced the winner, but I just want to say that I'm humbled, I'm grateful, and I appreciate all your love and support. Hello, real drunk housewife from Australia. We've got Australia down under tonight. How you doing? So nice to see you, Bruno and Jen Lantini, our girl, and Grace. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please like the show. Please share it. I'm with my good friend, Kristen Tinsley. She's a producer. She's a writer. She's a holistic nutritionist. She's a comedian. She also acts. The girl does it all. And we're talking about her studies and about her doing an internship with Nora Ephron and, writing, adapting screenplays. And I want to talk about, because you mentioned before about, doing comedy and writing in a different way. I know the story of how you got started in stand-up. You and I actually met at Ziggy's Corner Bar in Massapequa. They were having an open mic. I really wasn't going to go, and I decided to go. And you were standing at the bar. We got to
Thank
talk.
God you did.
And you know what? I'm blessed and grateful to call you friends. You know that. We just clicked, and means the world to me. Really, our friendship. But I'm so proud, and I will say this publicly because I've told you in person, I'm just so proud of you for everything that you've done and how far you've come, physically, mentally, emotionally, geographically. I mean, you just, we all have our trials and tribulations, and we try to be strong women and get through what is thrown at us. And you're kicking ass. That's the bottom line. You got into stand-up comedy, and because I've been in this game since the early 90s, and then I stopped when I had my daughter Val, and then I got back into it about 4 or 5 years ago with the help of Bob Nelson, because I always want to give him some cred. And as you know, it's mostly a boys' baseball field, and it's very hard to get stage time when you're new. And a lot of comedy places will put up the same cover and over again, and it's very hard to bring in that new meat to the stage. A lot of places either don't want to take chances, or they have their faves, whatever. So you said, screw this, I'm going to produce my own show.
My own way.
And you came up with Chris Tinsley Comedy in the beginning, and now you moved along to, you produced many shows. I'm grateful and thankful of being part of them. We just celebrated your big 40 birthday.
Oh yeah, and I'm feeling every moment of that.
Well, listen, we made it COVID friendly, COVID safe, and you had your family and your friends and some comics there, and we all wanted to celebrate with you, and we had a curfew of 10 o'clock.
Thank God for that, because I don't know how drunk I would have gotten. But yeah, I mean, I started Tinsley Comedy Productions because I wanted to give stage time to people who normally wouldn't get stage time, because I automatically saw the game for what it was originally. And I have to shout out and thank Chris Cuff, because, Chris was willing to dive in there with me. I mean, I would have been completely and totally nervous about, doing that on my own. And then eventually, when Chris, wanted to do other things with her life, not that she wants to do other things. She does want to get back to comedy. She just, she needed to take that time, apart, because producing shows, it's not a lot of work, because you're basically just booking the room, but it's working with different types of personalities. And over time, it's taught me to always just, expect and accept the unexpected. The last show I did was my birthday show was probably the most easygoing show that I had, where it was like, I walked in, everything was set up beautifully. Thank you, Jen Lentini. Thank you so much for that. And everything just went well. I mean, and even if things didn't go well, I've come into the maturity that I'm just like, you know what? Oh, well, there's going to be, I love the comedy community, and I like to do different things, and I like to include, everyone that I possibly can. But I've realized over time that, you really can't do that, because there's some really crazy people out there.
Yeah. You learn who you can rely on and who you can work with. That's the bottom line. It's
Exactly.
trial and error, everyone, exactly. Nevin Cummings, who has been running a cable show for years, has a movie out called Bottom Feeders.
Yeah.
And it's basically about comedians who are bottom feeders trying to climb their way to the top.
Well, that's why you always have to have an ace in the hole. A lot of people look at my life and they see my posts and they see, oh, you're doing this, oh, you're doing that. And a lot of people would mistake that for like not having direction.
Right.
But if one thing I learned navigating through, the film industry and just the entertainment industry itself, and learning the business side of it, you always have to wear many hats. You always have to
Absolutely.
be something that somebody needs. Like
Yes.
one day I know that someone's going to need a bus driver on a film set. I have my CDL. You know, I take everything that I do, even with the holistic nutritionist and now the weight management consultant. I'm going to use my comedy and my writing and my spiritualism to come together to work my business and
Right.
to reach the masses out there. Because how do you get people? You know, you have to be real. You have to be authentic. I've always been a funny person. I've always been somebody who's just kind of laughed their way through life. So why not use it? Because that's being authentic.
Which
you know?
leads me to the next question is why? Why did you decide, hey, I want to get up and try to make people laugh?
It was, well, I think it's some at this point. Thinking back, it was something that took on a life of its own. I didn't really think to myself, "Oh, I want to do." I was exposed to a lot of stand-up comedy, you know, growing up, and you know, even in the last relationship that I was in, you know, I always read like all kinds of books about comedy and watched all kinds of comedy specials and stuff like that. Just crazy stuff. So I got on the stage, I did an open mic, and it just took off from there. Because I figured, all right, I'll do the open mic. It was just something that I thought I would do. I had no idea. I thought you had to be on, doing open mics forever before you could actually get any stage time. And then Stephen Perillo was like, hey, you want to do a show? And then Evan Weiss was like, hey, you want to do a show? And, I didn't even realize, that I didn't know that there was comedy classes. I knew absolutely nothing. And it just took off. It just took off from there. It's not something that I want to do. I don't aim to make people laugh.
Right.
I aim to share energy with people. When they come into a room and they're on stage, I want them to be entertained because I have the entertainment spirit. Absolutely. I will stand in a barrel of shit for 20 hours to get the perfect shot down on a film set because that's what it takes. You have to really, really love this business.
You do.
In order to be able to do it, because there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that goes on inside of a person to bring the entertainment. And that's what, that's just the type of person that I am. So comedy was just an easy way for me to be able to get up there and use my writing and show off my talents. And I'm still working on it because I'm still a very shy person. I'm used to being behind the scenes. I'm used to being script supervisor, the makeup artist, the writer. I'm not used to being in front of the camera or even on the stage, but I'm getting there.
Yes, you are. And we're going to talk about that when we come back after our next break. So don't go away, everybody, because we got a lot more with Kristen Tinsley. So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222. Fortunato's Pizza and Restaurant is located at 719 Hawkins Avenue in Ronkonkoma. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They do free deliveries to Ronkonkoma, Lake Ronkonkoma, Lake Grove, Center Reach, Nesconsin, Holbrook, and Selden. And they do catering for all occasions. Remember, mention Tea Time and get 10% off your entire order. So, Fortunato's Pizza. Move you pizza to Fortunato's a Pizza.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Teresa Canastraci Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Teresa on Facebook. Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love it. Hey, welcome back. back, everybody, to Tea Time Holiday Edition with Kristen Tinsley. I want to thank Sal the Voice Valentinetti for doing that little promo to watch Tea Time. He and I worked together on Bat Boy, Yankee Miracle. Sweet guy, and he's in Florida enjoying the warm weather. And yeah, we had 10 to 12 inches of snow here. So for those of you who don't know, there was a lot of shoveling going on and digging out. And yeah, so there'll be more of that though, because today's actually the first official day of winter. Did you know that?
Yes, happy solstice.
Yes.
Happy solstice. There's going to be a big shift in energy coming up, people, so get ready. This is the time of Sagittarius. We are taking over. Dreams are coming true.
Kristen Tinsley's in the house. She's a producer. She's an actor. She's a writer. She's a holistic nutritionist. She's a comedian. And I actually did an indie film, and we needed extras. I called you up. And I'm like, yo, girl, what are you doing? You want to do some work? And you were there with Grace, and it was a fun shoot, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had a good time. It was long. It was a long day.
It was a long day, and I made everyone cry.
I did another shoot over the weekend with Ray Reality TV, and it was a skit. Cool. And it didn't really take. It did kind of take all day, but it was fun and it was enjoyable. But I was just like, wow, like I really need some more in front of the camera experience.
You know what it is that I'm so used to having a live audience between doing stand up and Ray's play.
Yeah.
And when you do movies, it's totally different. I mean, totally. You're doing the same scene more than once because you want to get
different angles.
Another camera angle. You want a wide shot, you want a close up. So it is very time consuming rather than just getting on stage, having that, that instant gratification from the audience. Right. It's a totally different animal. And I want to know I know, do you prefer doing stand up or writing or acting? Like, do you have like one preference over the other, because you're such a creative person?
Well, I can't have a preference because, like I said, you have to have many hats. I do enjoy the writing part because, for me, one of the greatest highs that I ever get in life is seeing my name up on that big screen, regardless. And I will see that screenplay by Kristen Tinsley one day. Trust me.
Oh, I know, girl. I know.
I was at, Tribeca Film Festival, and I did makeup for one of my friends who did a film there, and she had 2 films in there. And even just seeing makeup by Kristen Tinsley was the greatest thing. I love that because that's my creativity. This is my voice. You own that. You created this. When you're a writer, you are the creator of what goes on the screen, in the magazine, in the book, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You are the creator.
And I know you're writing something now, and like you said, you're going to do a reading, you're going to do the casting, and I could just imagine seeing the finished product, where the words are on the paper, and then all of a sudden to see it completed.
See it come to life.
Yeah.
I'll be happy when I see it come to life on the big screen. I'll be hiding in the corner of my couch, biting my nails. But it will, because it's very, that's probably the most vulnerable that I'll ever allow myself to be, is putting my work out there and having people watch it because I'm affecting their life.
Absolutely.
But I've kind of grown past it. You do affect it because, like, you watch a movie and if you have an emotional response to it or any sort of response to it, that's one thing that writers have to remember. You're not creating energy or giving a response from a piece of paper. You're doing this for people. You want them to feel sad. You want them to feel scared. You want them to feel excited. You want them to feel these things. All of those emotions have to go onto that page, onto the characters that you create. These are people that you're dealing with. That's why I'm always by myself most of the time. And, I'm home and, because I have to live with these characters for, a period of time. I have to know everything about them.
They become part of you.
Yes, they do become a part of me. But I take, a piece of people that I meet, and I create this, like, the main character, Evan, was named after somebody that, I happen to have a huge crush on all through college. And I was like, that's your name, so so there's that. And then, even for any of the books that I write, I write children's horror stories now for kids, like more along the lines of like R.L. Stein and Judy Blume type style books.
Yeah, yeah.
And my kids on my bus, I'm like, I look at them and I create characters that are based off of them and name them after, because the kids love that. Kids love that. I'm like, I'm going to name my character after you. The kids, they love that. So, I mean, there's a whole, and then I have my nonfiction stuff that I'm writing right now. I'm working on right now, which is a very hard book to write. It's called An Obesity Ghost Story. And it's about how I became obese and how to get out of it. And that, again, ties into the fresh sleeve of bariatrics. And
yeah. Well, I told you there was two that I was playing with. One was called Married to a Manzo, which is a wild story within itself. And because my ex-husband did have to go on the lam, and I was like, is this a movie? Am I in a movie? You have to go on the lam. You got to like go hide out. I'm like, really? And then the second one I was toying around with was You Have Such a Pretty Face If You Just Lost the Weight.
Right.
So that was another one I was, thinking about. You and I were in the same boat. We've struggled with our weight our entire life. Mm-hmm. And you decided to do something about it. You've lost about 220 pounds now?
235 pounds.
Forgive me for the extra 15, sorry.
I actually saw a video last year of myself, and I was like, oh, gee, I thought I lost weight then. And then it's crazy. Like, you look at yourself a year later and you're like, whoa. And then what is it going to be, the following year? It takes a lot of time, to see those types of changes happen,
Yes.
It takes a while.
Well, you decided to have bariatric surgery.
I did, yeah.
Was there a time, or what clicked in your head that you said, I'm going to go for it?
Well,
were you having medical issues? Were you having problems with your joints? Did you have a hard time breathing? I mean, because
it was all of that. But when you're living in such a big body and such a high weight for such a long time, you become comfortable with being heavy, and you become comfortable with the back pain, the knee pain, the trouble breathing, this and that. And then when somebody points it out to you, like I went to go see a pulmonologist. And because he wanted to, because they had me on asthma medication for years. Yeah. And I just felt like I really didn't need it. So when I went to him, he said to me, he was like, Kristen, you're not breathing at your full capacity. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, your stomach is so heavy, you're not able to breathe. He's like, you really need to get help. But I knew that my joints and everything like that were bad because I had always had, problems with my knees and just, general, just pain in general.
Right.
And it was a collective of things, when I had to go for an MRI after an accident and I had to go in a couple days early to make sure I could fit into the machine. I couldn't go to movie theaters anymore because I wasn't able to fit into the seat.
Right.
There was a lot of things, and I was slowly but surely becoming a shut-in and just eating. But then the real trigger was when my sister-in-law got diagnosed with ovarian cancer. That totally derailed me. I must have gained probably close to 80 to 90 pounds within that year that she was dying.
Right.
Because I just didn't care anymore. I didn't want to go to the gym. I didn't want to go to kickboxing anymore. I just gave up everything I loved, watching this beautiful 26-year-old girl die in front of my eyes every day. It was awful. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. But I made a promise. And I said, this girl knows when she's going to die. She knows it's inevitable. It's going to happen. I don't know when I'm going to die. Here I am. I'm walking around. I'm going to work. I'm making money. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. All these things. I've put my life on hold for so long.
Yeah.
Why? And I had actually made a phone call to the surgeon the year before, and I had never followed up for it. And then also my friend Juan, we worked together at the time. He was very, very, very heavy guy. And I didn't see him for a while because he worked in different yards. And then I saw him and he lost all this weight. And I was like, come here. I'm like, we didn't even know each other. I was like, how did you lose all that weight? And he told me, he said, I had bariatric surgery. I said, you know what? I'm making the phone call. Yeah. And I did. And It was
Yeah, I
that
want
took a few
people to
years.
know you were originally a size what?
Well, I mean, they only go up to a size 30, 32. So at some point I was probably bigger than that when I was up in the 500-pound range.
So you were like a 4X, a 3X, a 4X?
A 5.6X would be at the
5, 6X,
heaviest,
and
yeah.
you are now
A size 18.
18, girl.
And shrinking, yeah.
And shrinking, and you got height. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
vertically challenged. I'm only 5'2" and shrinking because that's what happens when you get older.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom used to be 5 foot. Now she's like 4'8" or something. I'm like, where are you going?
Yeah.
But you're tall. You're like what, 5'10"?
5'10", yeah. 5'10".
5'10", yeah. And
Thank
I have
God.
to say, you looked beautiful at your birthday party. You were glowing, glistening,
Very
sparkling.
shiny, always. Can't be without that glitter. It's even on my eyes tonight. Can't be without
I see it. It looks beautiful. Give a couple of shout outs. Greg DiFilippo in sunny Florida is watching.
Oh, Crystal. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Greg.
Listen, we're gonna take my last break, and don't go away because when we come back, we're gonna talk more with Kristen Tinsley, and we're gonna talk about her show In Bed with Comics and her holistic nutritional story and her tarot card channel. Ooh, more when we come back.
Where are my darling cards?
Fortunato's Pizza and Restaurant is located at 719 Hawkins Avenue in Ronkonkoma. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They do free deliveries to Ronkonkoma, Lake Ronkonkoma, Lake Grove, Center Reach, Nesconsin, Holbrook, and Selden. And they do catering for all occasions. Remember, mention Tea Time and get 10% off your entire order. So, Fortunato's Pizza. Move you pizza to Fortunato's a Pizza.
So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my God.
Hold on tight. We're gonna Coasters.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 Newbridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time Holiday Edition. I want to thank my sponsor, Fortunato's Pizzeria and Restaurant, located in beautiful Ronkonkoma. They deliver to like 5 towns around them, so give them a call, mention Tea Time, you get 10% off your order, and their slogan is "Move your pizza to Fortunato's a Pizza." Check out their garlic nuts, their chicken zing. The food is delicious, free delivery. And don't forget, mention Tea Time. So I'm back with Kristen Tinsley. She's an actor, she's a comedian, she's a producer, she's a writer, she's a holistic nutritionist. I want to thank everyone for watching the show. Please like it, please share it. So Kristen, we were talking about comedy and you decided you were behind the scenes at NSTV. Actually, I was there with you. We were trying to learn hands-on camera work, equipment. We were going to do some things there. And you wanted to do this. You had this idea, In Bed with Comics. Yeah. And then COVID hit and you're like, you know what? Let me do it actually from the comfort of my own home and ask comedians to come on, and either they can be in bed or not in bed. And I want to thank you for being your first guest. And I was in my PJs in my bed, and it was the most comfortable interview I've ever done.
Yeah. I'm starting back up season 2. Probably after the holiday. I needed to take a little bit of a break from it because it's just kind of like, all right, let me take a break, regroup. I just had got the green light to start rewriting the screenplay again. So
well, you were originally doing it 2 nights a week.
Yeah, it was a lot. It gets to be a lot.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I said to her, "Girl, 1 is enough for me." So I don't know how you're doing 2. And then you also do something called Creative Connections.
Yes.
Where you have people come on in the entertainment industry, whether it's actors or writers.
Emmy winners. Yep. Yeah, I had 2 very successful people on there. One of them won an Emmy for which Carlene, who you know, Carlene.
Yes,
Shout
Carlene.
out to
Yep.
her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for her producing work for Black Women Own the Conversation through Oprah.
Right. Right.
And then my friend Onif White, who did a film and won the Black Star Award for Stars for a movie that he did.
Yeah.
Great short film. It was wonderful. So I've had some good people on there.
Yeah, you have. Absolutely have. All right, so let's get into holistic nutritionist.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, you know, you've changed your way of eating. It's very hard. It's a mindset. I mean, I've struggled during COVID. You and I have talked about this, that I feel like the COVID-19 went straight to my ass, and it has its own zip code now. My body's totally shaped differently. I used to be an hourglass, and now I'm more pear-shaped because it's going places where it's never gone. I'm not getting any younger. And, you know, eating is emotional. You know, we eat to celebrate things. We eat when we're sad. We eat when we're depressed. We just eat. You know, it's not like I could go days without it. You know, I can go days without food. You could go days without a cigarette, days without an alcoholic drink. But food is vital, obviously. And we have to face it every day and try to make healthy choices. And sometimes we don't. And it's easy to lose the weight. It's hard to keep it off because it's easy to fall back into old habits.
It's not about losing weight. It is about keeping it off. Because most people, it's very easy to lose the weight by changing your diet, you know, getting in more exercise, all of that. Right. And you may or may not reach your goal initially.
Right.
You may fall within 10, 15 pounds. People say, oh, I got the last 10, 15 pounds to go, this and that. No, don't worry about the last 10, 15 pounds. Worrying about keeping off the weight is the most thing, because the longer you are overweight, the longer it's going to take to lose the weight. And if you keep fluctuating back and forth, you keep gaining the same 50, 60 pounds.
Yeah, like Luther Vandross. You know, one minute he was, you know, looking like the Hindenburg, and the next minute he looked like he needed a meal. I mean,
Well, that's essentially what happens. You know, the body, and you know what I discovered through holistic nutrition and weight management is that fat is actually its own organ. Which means that it has its own communication system. It has its own blood vessels. It has a lot of and there's different types of fat. So you're actually dealing with a lot of different things. You're dealing with those fat cells that communicate within each other. You're dealing with a digestive system that has bacteria in it that also commutes. You're dealing with a hormonal system. You're dealing with a lot of different things. Right. And if all of that is not within sync, it's not going to be as easy for you. But the thing is, yes, we do need food to survive. But the hardest thing for people to accept is that you actually don't need food to survive. You need nutrition to survive. And the hardest thing for people to accept is you need to eat food that's going to give you the highest nutritional value. And it's also going to keep you alive and to keep you from getting cancer. And if you're not eating those types of foods, then you're not eating. You're really not eating. People think that, you know, they get up and they have a sandwich and that's food that they're eating. But that sandwich isn't doing anything for you, because the body actually doesn't recognize, like, you could eat 600 calories worth of cookies and then beat yourself up for it. Right. All right. The body doesn't know that you just ate 600 calories of cookies. It doesn't know cookies. It only knows what you're giving it and what it's going to do for it.
Right. Right.
So when I created the fresh sleeve of bariatrics in the program that I'm going to come out with, you know, it is for people that have had bariatric surgery, people that suffer from obesity. Because that's the demographic that needs the help the most, because it's the ones that, you know, that get, you know, ignored the most.
Right.
If you could get those people and start within the process of giving their body an overload of nutrition and vitamins, and gradually stepping them down before weight loss surgery, dropping the calories down and giving them the nutrition, the body is going to respond much better when you cut out the stomach and you give it such a shock of going from 6,000 calories per day to now maybe 5, maybe.
So what's the one piece of advice? I know you told me get out and walk 20 minutes, 3 days a week, but what other piece of advice can you give people? Like, I mean, is it, you know, drink a ton of water, because that's also good, or
My biggest thing of advice is not that, because most people are not within that stage of doing that. When you start to cherry pick what you think you should do for that, my advice would be pick something that you can stick with. Look in the past. If everybody on this planet has tried to lose weight at some point or gain weight, whatever it is, go into your past. What worked for you before? What foods were you eating before?
Right. Yeah.
To get you to that level of I'm losing weight, I feel good, I'm comfortable. Which exercise did you do in the past that you could do, that you could maintain, that you did love?
Right.
You have to, because you're going to be this for the long haul. There's the losing weight and keeping it off is not a temporary thing.
No.
It will always be.
Right.
Like so you have to find something you can stick.
I know a friend who prefers to swim because it's not bad on her joints.
Right.
And it really works out your entire body, if you're able to get to an indoor pool or whatever. But I know that I love to dance. So I know that dancing to me doesn't feel like I'm working out,
but it's something you have to do.
So I'll try
to do it every day. You have to do it every day.
Do something. So the bottom line is to try to do something for yourself every day. And I know as a mother, it's hard to do because I put everyone else before me, which a lot of us do. But it is really doing something for yourself on a daily basis.
Right. But even being a mother and being busy, you have to take care of yourself. Because I know plenty of those mothers now, 20 years later, 10 years later, that said, I'm too busy. And unfortunately, some of them are not here because they died of cancer. Right. Because they were not taking care of themselves. They were always doing for others. But what is doing for others doing for you when you're not here?
Right. Absolutely.
So we need to, and that's part of the program. That's part of that changing that mindset and really focusing like you're a singular being here on this planet and you need to do things for yourself. And, people think, oh, holistic is very expensive. It's actually not. It's actually a lot cheaper than you would think if I told you that the biggest antibiotic that you have is already in your kitchen and it's in garlic and onion and, all different types of stuff. A lot of spices
that are so healthy.
Absolutely.
Listen, we have 2 minutes left. This goes so fast. I could talk to you for another hour, but you're going to have a tarot channel coming.
Yes. The Divine Femedian. Yes.
What is it called?
The Divine Femedian.
The Divine Femedian. But before we get to that real quick, I want you to tell people where they can find you. Facebook, Instagram, shout it out.
All right. So Instagram, you can follow me, of course, for comedy at Chris Nicole Tins. That's Tins with a Z. If you're interested in learning about weight loss or anything like that, you can hit me up at the Fresh Sleeve of Bariatrics. And if you do want a tarot card read, because I'm definitely going to be getting into that, I will post links within the Divine Femedian. Hi, Mandy Jones on Instagram, and you'll be able to get a tarot read if you want to hit me up. I definitely need the practice with these lovely cards.
Yes, I've got lots of card real quick. We got 1 minute.
All right, pick a card real quick. I'm going to lay out 3 cards for you. Pick number 1, number 2, or number 3 to tell your future.
We're going with 3.
Woo! You got the Hermit.
Oh no.
The Hermit card is basically somebody that's going within to think about things. So there's a lot of things to be thinking about. There's somebody that needs to go into solitude to think about certain things. But yeah. You've got those 3 energies right there. So yeah, you've got some things to think about, my darling. And you know that.
Well, listen, I love you to death.
I love you too.
And again, you know how I feel about you. I'm so proud and blessed and thrilled to call you friend and happy that God put you in my path. I want to thank you. You stay right there, Kristen, but I want to thank everyone for watching. Please like the show. Please share it. This is my holiday show. I am so blessed. I will see you all next week. Have a very happy, healthy, merry. And I'll be back next Monday with another great guest. In the meantime, please stay well, stay healthy, wear a mask, wash your hands, do what you got to do. Ciao, everybody.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Merry.